Did I answer your questions, Mike?
So mean.
You answered many of them. It's interesting that you guys all shared one floor of a house, two families.
Two floors.
And
Two
no,
floors.
well, not the grandparents now. I'm
Right.
thinking mainly the
Right,
Oh, yeah.
the
the
same.
Yeah, the same generations.
For 19 years, till I left. Till we left.
I just, it just
Till
is,
we left.
it's
To-
curious to me
California.
that, like I said, it was a cohabitation, but not a commingling, right? Which is so, I can't even imagine that, bless you. I absolutely cannot imagine.
The one thing
Unless you didn't like each other, but it
No.
sounds like you did dislike each other, so bless you.
The best, I used to call Bessie and Mom.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I didn't, for some reason or other, I wasn't close to Abe.
Uh-huh. Well, I imagine he was,
He was a
Distant.
He was never home.
Right.
Like, he worked days.
right,
My father always worked nights.
nights, yeah.
No, wait a minute. He worked nights.
Right, he worked nights and your father worked
My
days.
father worked days. Yeah.
Right, and so Uncle Abe slept during the day.
Yeah. And
So you didn't have a lot, I remember you telling me you didn't have a lot of contact with him
No.
because he slept all day.
No, not a lot of contact with Abe.
So,
And her, I adored.
Bessie,
She was my mother.
Second mother.
My mother spent a good part of her time in bed.
mhm.
She was always sick. Always had that.
It's funny, I sort
And
of
was
think of
sick.
her as being strong as a bull.
What was she sick with?
Gallbladder and then what?
Oh, she had all kinds of, what do you call it?
You should have Jack on the phone.
What do you,
Uncle Jack won't be able to hear you when you talk on the phone.
what is it called on those shows of Lifeline?
Yeah, I'd like to call.
But anyway, so she had some sort of an illness that kept her in bed?
She went to all large hospitals in the country.
Did she have headaches? Did she have migraines?
No.
She had migraines, yeah, and she had, I'm trying to think.
Which part of her body, Dad? Who can help?
I don't know. Her back was a problem.
But she was a workhorse. Even with all those problems, she was a
worked hard, yeah.
workhorse.
She was a hard worker.
Yep, she was.
Yeah.
Not when she was necessarily little. If she was bedridden all the time.
Well, maybe she wasn't bedridden all the time. Maybe that's,
Not particularly
Yeah.
red.
Yeah.
No.
yeah. She just was not a well
She
mom.
was in and out, but always were looking for a cure. What she had, you went to it's a big hospital,
Mayo Clinic.
Mayo Clinic.
That was a long ride to get there in those days.
Well,
That was several days on the train.
we took her there, and then we come back to where we lived at the time.
So did you have a family vehicle or just the cabs?
No, we didn't have a family vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't go very many places
Mm-hmm.
because you had to work. You didn't have anything to eat.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't work.
Right, right. I bet Grandpa and Uncle Abe worked like 7 days a week.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I bet they
don't
didn't take
remember.
much time off.
I remember a couple of trips we made out to Long Island. There was a famous, there was a camp for kids. I was the only one that ever went to the camp one year. And the reason I went to camp is when my mother and Jack came to California.
What do you mean?
They came to California to visit.
Oh.
Essie and Abe were here already.
Oh, I see.
Uh,
And then that summer you got to go to camp.
mhm.
Huh. It's like a sleepaway camp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
How long were
And I
you
was
there?
one of the
Summer.
older ones in the camp, so I got to do what the counselors did.
Ooh.
I had a ball for that.
Yeah.
How many weeks were you at camp? Do you remember?
1 or 2, I'm not sure exactly, but 1 or 2. Yeah. And I must have been maybe 16, 15, 16 at that time.
Was that hard for you to go away to camp? Because you'd never done it before.
He was an older
Mm-hmm.
It
person.
was, we wouldn't even think of it, right, if they didn't think they owed it to me.